Moments. Iconic Moments is the world's first NFT marketplace exclusively for museums and historical brands. And they're creating collector experiences and new revenue streams for cultural institutions around the world. Please join me in welcoming our third and final founder to the stage, Chris Cummings of Iconic Moments.
My name is Chris Cummings, and I'm the founder and CEO of Iconic Moments, the first NFT marketplace for the 450,000 museums and archives around the world. COVID-19 has had a massive impact on the museum and tourist industry. Today, up to 30% of museums globally are at risk of closing forever. The average museum has lost $791,000 in ticket sales alone. And here in the United States, 25% of museums have less than 4 months cash to survive. And this is after significant layoffs and furloughs. The truth is that the economic model behind museums is broken. And this model has been broken for a very long time. Museums really only know how to drive revenue in 3 ways: through ticket sales, event rentals, and once-a-year galas. And all 3 require visitors to physically walk through the door. Iconic, so if the model behind this industry is so broken, what does the new model look like? And that's why we created Iconic Moments, the world's first NFT marketplace exclusively for museums and historical brands. Each week, Iconic will release high-quality, limited edition NFTs from the vaults of the world's top museums. Now, I want to be very clear. We are not selling original ownership of anything in the museum. That would pose some pretty significant problems. But what we are doing is creating digital lithographs that museums can sell to be able to drive engagement and fundraising, the same way they sell physical lithographs every day. And what's even crazier is that museums are sitting on a treasure trove of unseen and unutilized content. In fact, only 2% of the museum's collection is publicly visible, and the other 98% sits behind a vault, too often gathering dust. But let's take a step back. What are NFTs? Who here has heard of NFTs? NFTs are non-fungible tokens. Essentially, they're a way of doing smart contracts on the blockchain. You may have first heard about them when Beeple sold this piece of artwork for $69 million. But an easier way to think about them is what the NBA has done with Top Shot, which is essentially an evolution of trading cards. So when I was a little kid and I'd buy a pack of cards and collect and trade those with my friends, today you can digitally buy a pack of cards and have a more interactive and better and immersive experience. We're taking the same technology and applying it directly to the world of cultural heritage. We start by going into those archives, those vaults of content, and creating limited edition NFTs. Next, unlike other NFT platforms, we take a heavy focus on storytelling. What is the story of the NFT? What is the story of the museum? What is the social impact that can occur from the purchase of that NFT? We're able to bridge the physical and the digital world together by attaching tickets and membership to that NFT. And finally, because we work directly with the museums, we have the ability to authenticate every purchase, so you know it's coming directly from that museum itself. What we're doing at Iconic is very, very different from the current state of NFTs. In a world dominated by generative apes and whales and penguins, we're working directly with some of the world's most important cultural institutions and cultural assets. So how big are NFTs? Well, in 2020, there were $200 million in NFT transactions. By 2021, that number grew to $27 billion. So in 1 year, we went from 200 million to 27 billion in transactions. The application of this to museums is a lot bigger than you might think, because there are way more museums than people know. There are more museums in the US than there are McDonald's and Starbucks combined. Museums are a $31 billion industry. And museums and archives have over 450,000 locations. And we have a first mover advantage to change the way this entire industry works and to create sustainability in the industry for the very first time. So how does this all work for the iconic and for the museums? Well, it starts by us forming a partnership agreement directly with the cultural institution. And we take on the curation, the creation, and the marketing for the museum itself. We then do, on all initial sales, a revenue split of 75% to the museum on first sale and 25% to iconic moments. And then there is a lifetime royalty built in. That's one of the benefits of NFTs, of a 10% royalty that's split between the museum and iconic moments. What Iconic is doing for museums is solving a much needed problem that other NFT platforms simply aren't addressing. Between generic and oversaturated platforms, we're trying to compete against 40 to 50 million NFTs on the platform at once, to white label solutions that museums simply don't know how to use, to there are vertical specific solutions, just not for museums. We've already formed partnerships of over 20 institutions all around the world. We've got leads coming in from museums across 12 countries, from the Universal Hip Hop Museum being built in the Bronx, to the National African American Music Museum, to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. So we raised $2 million last fall to get started and have already done all this with just that little bit of funding. We're on track to have over 100 museums signed up by the end of this year. And our plan was to expand internationally by next February, but we're already being inundated with international leads. Over the next 24 months, we'll do over $100 million in transactions once post-launch, and have 250 partnerships with museums around the world. To make all this possible, we've built a really, really incredible team. I've built and scaled multiple startups and have been building museum experiences for over 6 years, so we know this industry up and down. My CTO, Gregory, has built a blockchain exchange startup before and multiple index funds for Coinbase. And our thought leader, Frances Little, is one of the first people in the world to just receive her doctorate about the intersection of blockchain and museums. And this is just the beginning. Our larger vision is to create a digital museum for every physical museum in the world in the metaverse. So thank you to Idea Village and to everyone that's come out. We live in a place dedicated to history.